Good morning. Welcome to 2021. Today's gospel is John chapter 2, the first 11 verses. The wedding at Cana. Now Jesus' first sign, a glimpse into his divinity, was turning water into wine. A pretty cool trick. Jesus and his mother were likely family, not simply guests at the wedding. Now, weddings were a week-long celebration with feasting, drinking, and dancing. When the wine runs out, it is Mary who is concerned. You see, this would have been a huge disgrace for the family. So she tells Jesus, do something. You have to wonder what she expected him to do. But she trusts her son and tells the servants to do whatever he asks. Jesus, in spite of saying, "My hour has not yet come," was confident that God would be revealed through him. You know the story. 6 large ceremonial water jugs filled to the brim, and Jesus turns the water into a fine Cabernet. Now, one commentator said that the wine symbolically represents joy. Not the giddy, light-headed happiness of cheap wine, but joy that is rich and full. Now I need to stop here with a confession. I love words. I love the sound of them carefully strung together like a strand of fine pearls. I love the imagery from today's gospel of a life filled to the very brim with joy. But how can I share good news about joy when so many of us are hurting? When these words ring hollow through our homes and churches, empty of family and friends. Like so many, I also suffer from depression, especially at this time of year. I do my best to bottle up the sadness till it erupts in an embarrassing outburst. Or me standing on the porch yelling at the dog to just find a place to pee already. This past year has taken a toll on us, and it is getting harder to slap a smile on our face in feigned gaiety. Being alone, the old stories of worthlessness, of being unlovable, are running amok, haunting my imagination. And I haven't yet found the strength to overcome. Reflecting on the celebration of a wedding, I am taken back to January 1st, 10 years ago, the morning he spoke these words, "I don't know if I ever loved you." After 29 years of being a wife and 5 kids, now grown, too old to return to a career in nursing, I was faced with the dilemma of trying to find out who I was. Every Christmas, I fall into the trap of watching sappy Christmas movies that always end with the girl and the guy falling in love. And every year I think, maybe this will be the year I too will find a Christmas miracle. I began to understand that I was seeking love in all the wrong places. And so, like the story of Anna, I began to believe that God was calling me into a solitary life of prayer. I envisioned singing Gregorian chant by candlelight in a drafty monastery. Well, it looks like God has a different path. But it's difficult to trust the way forward when carrying a dimly lit flashlight that only reveals a couple steps at a time. It is hard to imagine a life full of meaning and joy. Richard Rohr said, "Our false self is how we define ourselves outside of love, relationship, or divine union." You see, we were not created to live a life without love or joy. This message stems from our own inadequacies and failures. God's desire is to free us from the tethers of lost hope and help us to find our own divine nature. We all hold the capacity to give and receive love, to experience delight and laughter. I apologize for the personal nature of this reflection. I know many of you are experiencing grief and sadness so much greater than mine. But I understand the power of words to cause pain or to heal. Maybe we can't feel joy right now, but that doesn't mean that these words don't hold truth. Jesus understands rejection, betrayal, loss. 3 short years after his first miracle came the greatest wonder of renewal, victory over the darkness. Dear friends, keep repeating God's promises until they penetrate the shadows. You are loved. You are uniquely and wonderfully made. You are worthy. My prayer is that these words will not merely offer a moment of comfort, but begin to heal. Let's not settle for cheap wine that leaves us dissatisfied and only masks pain, but may we savor the richness of God's very best, a life of abundant joy.